Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to Finish Big. I'm Mark.
And I'm Joe.
And we are listening our way through all the various ranges and exciting stories that Big Finish bring to us.
But this week you can meg me up, baby. Back to the big meg.
Yes, we are. It's the world of 2000 AD and Judge Dredd and Strontium Dog. That's his name, isn't it?
Well, we'll get to Strontium Dog later. But I have to say that when you said at the end of the last episode we was heading to Judge Dredd next,
Yes.
my heart was aflutter.
It's funny how we've become excited about and we've enjoyed those ones so much, haven't we?
This is the ultimate in, like, don't judge a book before you've read it.
Don't judge Dredd it.
Yeah, don't judge Dredd before you've heard him. Because, honest to God, I dreaded listening to the first four we were going to do. And they were good. And then the second four were great. Like, there was two absolute bangers in that second bunch. And I do think these four, it's a mixed bunch, but they are good. And the best aren't as good as the second set, I don't think. But it is a consistently
it is, isn't it? It's
entertaining series.
You know what you're going to get. And it's funny because I remember these being talked about when they came out at the time. They were on those very early days of the Big Finish podcast.
Talked about how, though?
Well, they were talking about, when the Big Finish podcast first started up, they were like, holding the Judge Dredd releases are out. And I saw them out in the shops and I saw them in a Forbidden Planet sale. They were like $2.99 each back in the day. And it just never even crossed my mind to give it a try or to interest me.
2000 AD
and now,
fans.
and I wish back then I'd given it a try because I would have bought them all.
Well, so this is the message
then.
to you, Finish Biggers, you hoes out there.
Give it a try if it's a range that
if
you're
it's
not
a range
sure.
that you don't think you don't think you can listen to because you haven't experienced the story, the comics or whatever it is, the Omega Factor because you haven't seen the TV show, Survivors because you haven't seen the TV show, you should take a punt because I think once again, and I think I'm going to keep saying this as we go through Graceless and things like this, Sapphire and Steel, some of the best Big Finish audios are these spin-offs rather than the main range.
Yeah.
That's not just because I want more listens on the spin-off material.
Well, shall I just tell you the releases that we're talking about today?
Yes, please.
So they are Judge Dredd, Dreadline.
An old man fighting against a worthless system.
Strontium Dog, Fire from Heaven.
Snack you, Alpha, and your retard buddies.
Judge Dredd, 99, Code Red.
These puppies are the only permit I need.
And Judge Dredd, War Planet.
I'm a killer, Dredd. I never sanctimoniously pretend it was necessary or right.
Okay, well, let's go straight into the first one then.
Dredd. No, wait. Before we go into the first one, I've got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because I was really thinking about this when I was listening to this for this set, and that is, who is this supposed to be appealing to? Is this supposed to be appealing to fans of 2000 AD, or is this supposed to be bringing in... The reason I ask is because there aren't really running storylines to this. Not really. We had a little bit with Claire Buckfield, but she's completely vanished now.
With no explanation.
What's her name again?
Amy Steele.
Yeah. She's gone. So this isn't like a continuing series of stories. So you absolutely can. It's a perfect jumping on point no matter where you are with Judge Dredd. They're all standalones, aren't they, effectively?
Pretty much, yeah.
I don't think they're using 2000 AD, like, details from the comic strips. I think they're doing their own thing.
I think all the characters are part of it, I think. And it must be for people who have read the comics.
Excuse me, the fact that we're both saying I think means neither of us know.
No, I think they are characters, because I looked up some of the characters from the previous ones, and there are drawings of them all.
Well, when we strap down John Ainsworth and grill him about Judge Dredd...
Find out, it's interesting, because I've never known anyone that's like, I'm into 2000 AD comics. Or Judge Dredd or any of that. I mean, sometimes with the Marvel and DC and stuff, but 2000 AD is its own thing.
I got a feeling
it's more
that
80s.
was massive
I feel
in the 80s.
I feel like it was 80s, maybe early 90s. I think maybe my brother had an annual in like 91 or something.
I think I've seen a picture
because my brother loved
you
Judge
or your
Dredd.
brother wearing a Judge Dredd t-shirt.
My brother was into Judge
cake?
Dredd. He had a cake and a t-shirt for his birthday.
Cake.
The Sylvester Stallone film. Yeah. But in terms of the comics and reading the comics, I don't know. You don't really see it around now,
we're
do
living
you?
in the wrong continent as well, because I think it's America where this was huge,
right.
rather than England. Oh, I don't know. I don't really know.
Who knows?
Listen, hoes, if you know about
Are you a 2000 AD ho?
Are you a 2000 and AD ho? Then let us know.
Right. Well, let's go into today's first story.
Last thing.
Okay. Then we'll start.
Well, no, I want an answer. I want to give an answer to...
I want answers.
I am the law. I think it's for people that have a tentative knowledge of 2000 AD, but it's just people that want well-realised audio drama. Because these are really well put together.
Yeah, no, they're not selling them to Radio 4 or anything, though, are they?
No, but I do think they're put together with some confidence.
Oh, yeah.
And I think...
That's what I was surprised about.
Some of these are put together with more confidence than the Doctor Who release.
That's what I'm... Yeah. That's what it is.
Like, it's almost like a we don't give a shit attitude with these 2000 AD. Like, we're literally going to make it as comic as we want it to be.
But they're less
We're going to make it as
constrained.
camp as we want it to be. We're going to make it as like violent as we want it to be. We're going to paint the world in big, vivid colours. And I like that sort of freewheeling creativity.
Well, it doesn't have the constraints of a Doctor Who or a TV franchise that might have more stricter things you can and can't do.
Actually, so. We're going through it, because there's a few things in here that you'd never see in a Doctor Who story.
Okay, well, let's go into today's story. So the first one is Judge Dredd, Dreadline.
That's a terrible pun.
Released in March 2003, this, of course, stars Toby Longworth as Judge Dredd. Also features Nicholas Briggs, Jeremy James,
the usual
Hannah
Judge
Smith.
Hannah Smith's in all of them. She plays about 5 roles
Andrew
in all of them.
Fettes.
I think it's Fetz.
Fettes. Okay.
Is that Joe Carston's husband?
No, that's Verona Shard's husband. She's Janice
right.
in Auton.
Yeah.
Anyway, this was written by James Swallow.
By the time we finish being Joe Carston and Andrew Fetz will be married. The amount of times I ask that, I'll change their wiki pages.
This was directed by John Ainsworth. With music by Nicholas Briggs.
Yes. Can I say a word, please, for Toby Longworth, who I did wonder when we went into this how on earth he was going to turn this into a character that I would want to listen to. Because in the first one, he's doing that gravelly voice. He's very serious. He's very dour. I'm thinking, what a boring character. He is so funny.
It's funny because
Isn't he funny?
Earlier on, when we had Claire Buckfield, I said she was my way into it because you're following that cadet.
And that was
her.
a savvy move. That was
and Judge Dredd was this sort of distant-y character. But now, whenever Judge Dredd is on screen, as it were, that's when I'm into it. I want to know what Judge Dredd is doing, and he is our main person that we are following now, because everything else changes each week. But I really enjoy every scene that he's in.
Yeah, it takes some skill to be that gravelly voice.
But
and
he
dour.
has those one-liners. He has funny moments.
So funny.
And you know his character now, that he is that, I am the law, nothing. But then he will, even if he's just like, when he's talking to criminals and stuff, and we've got a really great example here where it's him and this criminal that are together. So the storyline of this one, Dreadline, it's all set on a train, basically.
Oh, we love a train,
which is a really good...
we?
And the cover, doesn't it remind you of that Bernie Summerfield book, Tempest, with people fighting on top of a train?
Lucaroo, all of them
But
set
it's
on
that
a train.
sort of metro train thing, and he's got a prisoner with him.
Yeah. The prisoner is called Bix Philo.
And basically, at the end of the day, it's sort of a hijacking of a train.
Yes.
And a bomb and a countdown. But there's some really great character moments between Judge Dredd and this criminal.
Yes.
And they have these conversations, and obviously Judge Dredd doesn't really have time for any of the people that he's arresting or anything like that, does he? But then all the criminals that he meets and everything, they're quite quirky and funny, and they're these white guys,
Yeah,
like that. Every time.
I don't know if anyone's seen the reimagined Battlestar Galactica, right? You know the locker room scenes where they're all a bunch of jocks and smoking and wisecracking. And all that. That's what the judges are like. And then you've got Dredd, who's completely different to all of them, and they're all taking the piss out of him, going, I am the law, and all this. I do like that. I do like the fact that he's the one that's completely different to all the rest. What you get in Dreadline, like you just said there, is a conversation between Judge Dredd and Bix Philo? Bix Philo, is that it? That's what the space name, Philo. Anyway.
Bax Philo.
But it's all about what it means to be a criminal in the Meg. Judge Dredd says that the perpetrators of crime convince themselves that they are free spirits pushing against the system, and that's why the judges are there to keep order, because they're not. They're just criminals. They're doing terrible things. And we come back to this in the last story, where there's protracted scenes with, an even better villain, where Judge Dredd and the villain are talking about the system. And in that one, the criminal manages to very intelligently break down the system of law in the Meg and explain why that is a flawed system. And we'll get to that. But they're thinking about the law system and what it means to be a law enforcer. It's smarter than you think it is.
And there's things like, so you've got this group of gang, these terrorists, and there's that bit where they're all like, they've got the leader and the bomb and everything, and they're like killing people or whatever. And then these criminals are discussing, they're like, yeah, we're doing it for this. And then the other one's like, no, I thought we were doing it for this. And no, we're doing it for this, against the striking trained people, or what was it, against the mutant. They're like, no, and they couldn't agree what they've all been told. They're different causes that they're doing this hijacking for.
That scene is more relevant now than ever before, because it's a scathing criticism on people being angry on behalf of other people and having no idea why they're angry on behalf of other people. So the terrorist group's called Rail, and they all think that Rail stands for something different. No, I thought it stood for this. Well, I thought it stood for that. And none of them can agree what they're fighting for. It's so funny.
I suppose the only thing in this, we're all set on the train and you've got these characters and Judge Dredd and everything like that. It's an hour and 10, this one, where the others have been about an hour. Yeah. It felt a little bit long.
We're about 50 minutes, I think. It's about 20 minutes too long.
Longer. These are all about an hour and 10.
I thought this lost its way in the middle.
It did a little bit. It started off all right.
Well, you got all those brilliant scenes, because Jeremy James is playing Bix Philo. Jeremy James, backstory. I keep saying Bix, don't I? Biscuit. And it is a great performance, but he is doing that sort of Mr. Mouse sort of voice again.
Well, I just said, it's on me. It's not. I ain't doing nothing, man.
But the brilliant thing about him is throughout the course of the story, he has to sort of learn to be the hero, because Judge Dredd's knocked out, so he effectively has to try and save the train.
Yeah, isn't Judge Dredd? He's locked up in a meat locker.
That's right.
And the way he gets out is that his bike, his like motorbike thing. Is this the right story I'm talking about?
Yeah.
His motor is like voice activated.
That's
so
right.
Within the meat locker, he's like, bike. Put your laser beams onto the lock and like. I thought it was a really clever way of getting out, using your bike to laser beam yourself out.
And then in the climax of the story, they're basically this terrorist group led by this insane woman who used to be a judge. She was stripped of her rank. I think it was Dredd that stripped of her rank. So she wants revenge. She wants to turn the train.
Was that a different one? Oh no, yeah, she did. She used to be, because
she wants to turn the train into a big bomb.
Yeah,
and then send it screaming into the Big Meg and blow up a nuclear explosion. No, not a nuclear explosion. She wants to blow up the whole of the city. She's like, revenge is a dish best served cold.
Because, I mean, we mentioned this at the beginning, there's no Claire Buckfield anymore, who I thought was going to be in all of these as the sidekick. Yeah. She was in those few. I wonder if it was her availability or she wasn't interested. They got her for like 2 or 3.
2.4 children.
I don't know. Is she that busy these days?
Oh, maybe she was too busy playing what's her face from Sally Ann from the One Doctor.
Well, I feel like they've written her out in the background, because there's a mention of her at the beginning, because they're talking about cadets that don't make it, or cadets that's something that they don't fully get through.
He said he was visiting somebody. I think that's supposed to be her in Brexit.
Oh, anyway, she's been written out in the background, so I don't think we're going to get any Amy Steele, Claire Buckfield anymore.
I had a look at the cast list going forward. I couldn't see her in it.
I think she just wasn't available. Anyway,
Can I finish my point about Bax Philo, please.
Yeah, Bax
I keep
Philo.
giving him a different name every time. The Betty Bex. Him and Dredd have to work together at the end. So it's like the odd couple trying to save the Big Meg from this train blowing up the entire city. And they do it. And he's like, I'm going to have your sentence reduced for helping the law. And you're like, oh, that's great. Your sentence has been reduced by 1 month. And he's like, oh no, Dredd! As he's being...
Dredd, what the hell?
Oh, so funny. So I do think, actually, it's well structured, this. It does get a bit flabby in the middle. But it's got a good threat. It's got a good villain. Because the woman, Hannah
that woman
Smith,
villain,
is very
he
funny.
transports her out and re-transports us in front of the train, so she gets run over by her own train and blown up. It's pretty gruesome.
She has a line where she goes, "Oh, you judges are mental. Judgmental."
It's still, it's
got a
maybe
lot
not
of
the
energy.
best.
It's got a lot of energy
I mean,
to
we
it,
were
this.
raving about the last ones, but not. Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, I came away thinking that was good, not great. But
Yeah.
Judge Dredd good is really rather good.
Yes. Okay, moving on. Now we are on to Strontium Dog, Fire from Heaven, which was released in May 2003. So this stars Simon Pegg as Mr. Strontium Dog, and also features Toby Longworth as his sidekick Wolf.
Oh, was that Toby Longworth?
That's Toby Longworth again. He does all the stuff in it.
Wow.
Also featuring
Busy.
Nicholas Briggs, Hannah Smith, Mark McDonnell,
Oh, this
the
features...
usual gang.
Can I say, this features Nicholas Briggs as
I
a
didn't know it
mad
was him.
evangelist, right? And he goes at one point, "How dare you preach against me?" And I was like, that's Nicholas Briggs reading his reviews. And then it turns out there's a massive bounty on his head. And I was like, yeah, that's the fans, that is.
This one was written by Jonathan Clements, directed by Nicholas Briggs.
Okay.
With music by Andy Hardwick.
I don't want to be mean about Nicholas Briggs and his direction, right? But this did not work for me.
Well,
at
this is
all.
only the second Strontium Dog story.
There's only 2.
No, there's another one, isn't there?
I don't think so. They stopped doing them.
Well, it's in that same world as 2000 AD, but slightly
Is it,
different.
though?
So Strontium, it is, because when we first did it, there's comics where they meet up with Judge Dredd and they work together and time travel and stuff.
I think there's a Judge Dredd episode where the Strontium Dog goes into it. That's the third one.
No, it's in the same thing because in Judge Dredd they're always talking about the mutants and stuff and things. It's in the same. It's 2000 AD. It's in the same place.
But do you know what? Right,
But-
this doesn't have the sort of overt humour as the
It
Judge Dredd
does.
story.
It had a
I
lot of
don't
humour
think
in
so.
this.
No, if
It's
you're
slightly
talking about
different.
that bloody cute animal called Gronk,
No, it's slightly different.
as played by
it's
not Jane
exactly
Goddard,
the same kind of
It's
humour.
I know it
It's
isn't
just
you,
a
Jane
diff-
Goddard, but it
It
sounds
sounds
just
like it.
like you playing Jerry Packer.
No, I thought this was quite good because I wasn't sure about the first one, but he's a bounty hunter for hire, so he is kind of a good guy, but he's got Wolf who's with him, who was in the last one as well. And again, this was quite a long story, a long episode, but I was following it. There was a bit of a mystery. So we've got Strontium Dog, who's Johnny Alpha, is Strontium Dog, basically.
Yeah.
So we've got Johnny and Wolf, and whatever this little Gronk creature is, there's a bounty on the head of Oswald Mega, who is Nicholas Briggs, who doesn't sound... This is the first time that... because you know everyone.
Because he's doing this evangelist
Because I've said
voice.
this before, because whenever Nicholas Briggs turns
You
up...
will listen to Big Finish audios.
Okay, whenever he turns up, you all...
Oh, hail creatures of beauty.
Whenever he turns up, you always know it's Nicholas Briggs, because he's got quite a distinctive voice, and he does the Big
Yeah.
Finish podcast and stuff, and he's on every extra, all this stuff. You know his voice so well, so when he's doing even a radio announcer in the background or something, you know it's him, and it takes you out of
used
it.
to hearing him saying,
Because you just hear we love stories at the
for the
beginning and
love
all
of
that stuff.
stories,
Yeah,
all
you
this,
should, I don't think
you
you
know.
should do any of that because you're either acting in it or
doing
you're
that,
not.
Nicholas Briggs, please.
Yeah. But
Oh, wait.
this was the first time. Hang on, this was the first time where he's playing something, and I didn't realise it was him. He sounds completely different.
Oh no, I'm sorry. As soon as I heard the arrogance of that man's voice,
No, he doesn't sound
I
like
said,
him.
That's Nicholas Briggs,
He hasn't
all right.
got that sort of Nicholas Briggsiness to him. But he's quite good in this. But then anyway,
Do you
so
know
they're
what,
after
right?
his
Can I
head,
say?
and he.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a Big Finish day coming up soon. Yeah.
Yeah.
which we were going to go to, but we're a bit scared because we've been a bit nasty about the last day and things like that. Well, so we ain't going to go now. But I think Nick Briggs might be like that evangelist that Big Finish Day, you know? Do you think?
Well, he's running this cult of all these people. And there's a bit of time travel in this as well, because it's working out where he ended up. And there's this mystery because they're at this university. That's where it all starts. And they meet... There's like a chancellor. And what is it? What is the character? Midden-Face McNulty. Who's that? They've all got those same... It's like Judge Dredd. They've all got those quirky characters with the quirky names.
Yeah, but do you know what? The world building...
I liked following it. Where is Nicholas Briggs? What's he doing? How did he get there? Are they going to get him? I like that. And then there's a nice little... It rounds it off at the end with this statue that has been sitting in this university for all along, and because of the time travel element, it turns out that it is the Nicholas Briggs character who escaped but went back in time and got turned into a statue that's been sitting there all along. I thought it was quite fun.
Yeah, I don't agree.
And you didn't like Simon Pegg, that was the lead character.
He's so uncharismatic
no, but it's Simon
in that
Pegg
role.
doing his best. That is what he's like, though.
No, I'll do an impression.
But he's not Judge Dredd.
I'll do a Finish Big in the style of Simon Pegg playing Strontium Dog. You ready? Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Finish Big. And here we are today. We're going to talk about Big Finish stories.
No, but that's what he's like, because Judge...
yeah, and here's Mark. He's here. We're going to talk about Nicholas Briggs because we like him. Yeah. Like, it's like that.
No, he's not.
So
he's playing
boring.
the cool Johnny Alpha.
Cool?
He's like Johnny Alpha.
Judge Dredd is cool.
No, Judge Dredd is, I am the law, and all that.
Oh,
but Johnny Alpha's like, hey, Wolf, let's get this guy. We're a bounty hunter.
Oh, and
guys, let's go.
Because they were a bit useless. All of his psychics are a bit useless, and the Gronk. He's just sort of face palming all the time,
we
going, "Oh God,
we gotta split the fee between you, me, and Gronk." Oh no, he's like that. He's playing a cool character.
I'm bloody pleased you're not playing Strontium Dog after that.
No, I quite like it.
Do you know what? I love about the Judge Dredd audios is that they use lots of different audio methods to build like a vivid picture of the world, announcements and noises of trains and the cityscape and all. They do lots of quirky fun. What was the thing called? Culture Vulture, arts and crafts, ages for snobs, all that sort of stuff. There's none of that in Strontium Dog. So I couldn't see the world that they were building. We haven't spent enough time with Strontium Dog, so I'm not really engaged with him as a character, or I have no clear idea what journey is going on. And I don't think it's got the wit of Judge Dredd either. Not that sort of cutting wit. Like we said in the last one about Rail, and they're all fighting for something they don't know what for. It didn't have any of that sort of anger or no real point to it. Yeah, you're right. It was a series of linear events. No wonder you loved it.
No, because
that's your sort of story.
I like the characters as well. I thought they were quite good.
Oh, I don't know. The one bit I did like was the climax where they're trying to figure out where this fella's sent back in time, and they're like, well, we're never going to be able to find him again, and he's calcified as a statue, and Gronk goes, well, he's just there. Because
I've explained that about the statue already.
Have you done that?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I weren't listening. I was waiting for my turn to talk.
No, that was a good bit, the statue bit, how it wraps up. Yeah.
That was good.
It says here on the Big Finish website, though, this story takes place in 2176 AD in the classic Strontium Dog continuity and before the Big Bust of 49 storyline.
The Big Bust?
The Big Bust of 49.
Oh, they should remake the Big Bust and put Chase Marston in there, shouldn't they? She's got the Big Bust. What the hell was that climax all about where they were all singing Old Lang Syne? They're all the followers of Nicholas Briggs. I can't remember his name.
I know, he's Oswald Mega.
No, I prefer to say Nicholas Briggs. The tyrannical Nicholas Briggs. All of his followers were sort of going, serve him, and then to try and stop them, they started going, for Old Lang. And we have the whole fucking song. I'm looking at you like, what is going on? I have no idea.
I don't remember that bit because someone was illegally terraforming the world.
Yeah, there was that going on as well.
Which was the Chancellor, I think.
That's right. Yeah.
Anyway,
I
liked it.
She was a corrupt politician attempting to terraform an inhabited planet. Her name was Chancellor Vale.
That was Ian Brooker.
Well, do you know what? Oh, I said her. Do you know what? I think it's quite nice, actually, that we've had a massive difference of opinion, because we've been pretty simpatico lately.
Yeah.
So, can we move on from this one? 'Cause it was very
here we
boring.
go. Next one, a fun one. We're back.
Yes.
Here we go. Hold on a minute. Let me just get some facts out for a second. Okay. So, it's Judge Dredd 99, Code Red. So, we're back with Toby Longworth as Judge Dredd.
Exactly where we need to be.
Featuring Regina Regan again as Enigma Smith.
Oh, yes, so much to talk about with Enigma Smith in this one.
This was written by Jonathan Clements.
Yeah, much better than his Strontium dog script, may I say.
Directed by Nicola Bryant.
You didn't believe me, did you?
No. And with music by Toby
Heinrich Robinson.
Toby Heinrich
Robinson.
Music by Toby High-Risk. Music by...
High Risk?
Hang on, shut up.
You got to keep all this in.
Music by Toby Heinrich Robinson.
That's right.
Now, this is... Okay.
Best of the set, best of the four.
There absolutely is a lot happening in this, but it's that very quirky Judge Dredd world that we're in.
Well, it was a quirky world. It was a theme park, wasn't it?
Can I just read some of the synopsis just to get some of this across?
Okay, cool.
There's a big new attraction at the White Cliffs of Dover, a Brit-sit theme park where the inhabitants of Megacity 1 can blow off steam. But the local law enforcement officers have got a grudge because the famous Judge Dredd is patrolling on sector rotation, and that means they can't be as easy as usual on the tourists. When Dredd finds arch snitch Max Normal running for the radioactive hills, he suspects there's more to a recent laboratory break-in than meets the eye. Someone has stolen 3 precious vials of a lethal plague, and they intend to release it in a public place.
That doesn't do it justice. I mean, that sounds great.
That's only half of it, but I mean...
It doesn't do the experience of listening to this justice.
The first bit of we get into is Judge Dredd coming to this city. Everyone knows he's got this reputation, so all the other judges are sort of taking the piss out of him, and he's calling them up on stuff they should be doing and everything.
I was totally on board at that point.
Yeah, straight away.
I was like, this is what a fun idea.
And then you add in this theme park, which is all supposed to be like British, so it's like Shakespeare-themed theme park, isn't it?
They're opening, aren't they? The new Shakespeare part of the park.
Yeah.
So that's why... In between the scenes, they're playing this very cod Shakespearean ding 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 music.
And then you've also got the sci-fi bit of it all with this plague. So the
deadly virus,
and you've also got the part of the theme park is the plague of London and everything. So that fits into it. And it just kept going. But even at the beginning, when Judge Dredd, my favourite scene, when with the hookers, so Judge Dredd gets into the city because the judges aren't
do you remember the line?
The law, and he's like, the girls are like, hey, Judge Dredd.
No, she goes, you can bust me for a cold 69 if you like, baby. And then he turns around and goes, that is a crime against grammar.
There's so many witty lines already.
So
before
funny,
even the plot gets going, you've got this really entertaining scenario of Judge Dredd in Brit City and all this stuff going on, and then it just gets better and better because then you throw in Enigma Smith, who was our favourite before the news report.
This is our biggest showing, isn't it?
She's actually part of the story rather than just being the news reporter. So it's all about her by the end of it.
She's there because it's the opening of the Shakespeare part of the park.
It's like, oh my God, there's Judge Dredd coming up here. Let's interview him.
And then obviously this deadly plague hits, so suddenly she's in the news rather than reporting the news. What's the matter?
I was just about to laugh, sorry.
It's a wonderful bit where she has some lines with Judge Dredd where she goes, how deadly? And he goes, it causes death. And she goes, very deadly then. This is a script that just keeps throwing out zingers after zingers.
Yeah.
It does remember to be serious because the plague bits are quite serious, but it's full of... I'll tell you what struck me. About a third in... I was utterly convinced that Gary Russell had directed this one because it seemed very assured, the direction. So then I went looking, and to my surprise, there's Nicola Bryant's name. And kudos to her, because this was a bit of an undertaking, and you can see the love that has gone into crafting this story. It's such a shame she doesn't direct more, because she goes 150%.
It was so much fun, this one.
It was. I think Enigma Smith's massive appearance was the best thing
at the end as well, she's like, I saved Mega City 1! It was on me! Because she gets so involved in it that it's actually part of getting the cure and all the stuff.
Yeah.
She's like, it's all about me!
Oh, and it turns out the virus was created by an actor who's absolutely sick to death of the audiences switching over to shitty television, the news like Enigma Smith and robot soaps. And he's like, there must... When he's going to unleash the virus, he does a Shakespeare line. He goes, a pox on both your houses! Oh, so great. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's over the top. But it's so much fun. It's so well realised, this.
Yeah, I definitely listen to this one again.
Yeah, for sure. This goes up there with...
I love Judge Dredd.
And the Big Shot.
The Big Shot, yeah.
Those three have been
definitely
the
up
absolute
it, yeah.
best. And I think as this goes on, there's going to be more... Do you know there's one coming up called Solo, where... it's only Toby Longworth playing 30 parts.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine? So they're doing experimental things as well. Guys, you need to listen to Judge Dredd. These are great.
Yeah.
Surely we're convincing you. Oh, wait, are they available?
I don't think they are. No, I don't think... I think they're really expensive on eBay now. Anyway, right, let's go on to the next one.
Okay.
Judge Dredd War Planet.
Oh, yeah.
This was released in September 2003. This time we have a guest star, Stephen Grief, from Blake 7, and you know it's guest starring him. They put a sticker on the front. Only him and Nicola Bryant get it. Guest starring Stephen Grief.
No,
Blake 7.
So far, there might be more people.
So far, yeah, but he gets a sticker. But this also features India Fisher as well.
She was talking this weird made-up language. We didn't even know it was her till she started talking English.
This one was written by Dave Stone, and it was directed by Gary Russell with music by Steve Foxton. Now, I didn't realise this was Dave Stone, and about sort of as we got into it, because I was trying to follow the story and I was like, oh, it's Dave Stone. I feel like I can never follow his stories. They're not the linear story that I like with Dave Stone. There's always a little bit more to it with Dave Stone. I always find it complicated because that last Dave Stone one was the one that we didn't like as much as well.
Yeah, that wasn't good. This was much better than that.
This was better, but I didn't like it as out of all of them. This was my least favourite.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, no, Strontium Dog was the worst out of these, surely.
No.
I mean, I don't think it's too much to ask that in the first 10 minutes of this, we're following two time periods. We're in the present, which is Judge Dredd and this criminal on a planet.
Played by Stephen Grief.
And brilliantly, may I say.
Yeah, he sounds a bit like...
Noel Coward, I thought.
Oh,
He's smooth as hell.
Oh, I was going to say... what's his name? Who's Nida?
Oh, yeah, he does sound a lot like Peter Miles, you're right.
Yeah, Peter Miles, yeah.
But then we're also intercutting with scenes with Judge Dredd and another judge on their way to this system. And you kept going, oh, hey, what's going on? And then you suddenly went, oh, I see, this is them leading up to how...
It took me a minute, yeah, that just set me off on the wrong foot, flipping back and forth in time.
Pay attention then.
I was trying to.
Go back to your linear storytelling of Strontium Dog.
But I perked up when India Fisher turned up. I didn't realise she was in it. I was like, oh yeah, it's India. Because she's got such a recognisable voice, which I know I'm such a hypocrite.
This was a good role
I'm
for
such
her,
a hypocrite because I just complain that Nicholas Briggs sound the same and everything. So India Fisher has a very distinctive voice as well.
Yeah, but I sound the same on all my podcasts. The voice you have is the voice you have.
I know, but you can... I don't know. There's something... She's instantly Charlie, though, isn't she? A lot of the time.
Oh, yeah.
It does... That takes me out of it as well, but
this was a great role for her.
She was doing a sort of evil... She was the baddie in this.
She's the sort of smooth, religious leader of this planet. And it's a planet full of all these warring factions that the judges don't like. It's basically on the doorstep of Earth.
About an hour away, apparently.
And they don't realise just how bad the war is on this planet, do they? And India Fisher basically found her way in power, and she's scared that she's going to be deposed. So she's trying all these sort of tricks to stay in power, isn't she?
And the language thing's interesting, because Judge Dredd has this other judge, Judge Karen, apparently.
No, Kareen.
Oh,
Karen.
Judge Karen.
She was a bit of a Karen, actually, to be fair.
Who is like there to sort of use her psychic powers to sort of be telepathic.
Well, we've heard about the Psy judges before, haven't we? So that was quite nice to see that.
Also in this, I noticed. So we've not watched the Judge Dredd films. Maybe we should. So there's the 2013 one.
I just don't know. I don't think
And
anyone's going to be as good as Toby Longworth.
Well, we watched the trailer for the 2013 one.
Yeah.
And like all modern trailers, they put the whole story in, so I know exactly what happens. The plot of that is mentioned in, I think it must be part of the comic books, because he says about, there's a whole discussion about large sections of the population are given basically drugs to keep them under control.
Oh.
And that is the plot of the 2013 Judge Dredd film. It's all them taking the drugs and being controlled to keep them, law and order in order. So I picked up on that they do mention that in this. There's a big
I said to you that the Judge Dredd comic strips were hailed because they would mimic what was going on politically and things like that in contemporary times. A lot of these audios are doing that, They really do lean into things. Again, I'll go back to the rail from the first story, Dreadline, and sort of people online that are angry on behalf of it. But a lot of that goes on. There was loads in I Love Judge Dredd.
But sometimes it's a little bit clunky, though, because here they're talking about some union or something, and he's explaining to Judge Karen, it's these guys. Kareen.
Judge Karen.
He's going, there's this blah, 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 whatever space group. They're a bit like the UN back in old Earth times, and it's a bit clunky in terms, that kind of thing.
What I really loved about this was the scenes between Dredd and Stephen Greer's villain.
Yeah, there was lots of discussion. Yeah,
he really properly dismantles the system of law that Dredd not only upholds, but he buys into it completely, and he does it in a way where Judge Dredd can't really argue with him. And he's a criminal, so he's the person that's pushing against all of that. There was some smart dialogue, and I was quite impressed. Dave Stone, I think he's a very good writer. He gave you Jason Kane, so you need to be grateful. Yeah. I don't know if Judge Dredd's his natural home, but I do think there probably is somewhere on audio where his voice would be
suppose
perfect.
I didn't like it. Just didn't have that quirkiness like the other ones have.
It was a lot more serious.
It was more serious. I think that's what it is. And I mean, I'm not sure if having Stephen Greer on the cover would appeal to more people. But actually, it's more. Blake Seven has more in common with 2000 AD than Doctor Who.
I think there's more Blake. There's loads of Blake Seven books coming out at the moment. Some buggers must be buying them. I think there's a lot more fans out there than you think. I did like at the end as well. I did like there was a bit of a cat and mouse between Dredd and Drago at the end, where he's trying to get away, isn't he? He's trying to take over the ship, and I really like that. I did like Judge Dredd's. Ultimately, he comes back with a one line about what he thinks about the system of law. He goes, "I don't deal with moral justifications. I just deal with what's in front of me." And I thought that was a great sort of way to put a line under all those conversations. I did quite enjoy this. It's middle of the road, but it was well made. It was well acted, and I do think there was some good dialogue in it.
It was okay, yeah. I mean, it's just the other ones had the comedy moments and just the more memorable one-liners and just a bit more going. For me, a bit more going on.
As a 4. It wasn't as good as the second lot, I don't think.
It was a mixed bunch this time.
But, and I didn't like the Strontium Dog one. I just don't think I'm invested in the world. But it was still well made. It was still a well made bit of audio drama. I really think they've kind of got something.
Yeah,
here.
I know.
And it's annoying that they lost the license.
Yeah. They should be doing... we should have been having box sets of Judge Dredd nowadays.
Did you say that they were... approaching legalities about getting that license back?
No, it was Tomorrow People.
Oh, fuck it. I got that wrong, didn't I? Wow. No, I'll summarise Judge Dredd then as mercilessly entertaining and beautifully realised as well. Honestly, we have listened to some pretty choppy
I'm looking forward to the next batch we do when we do them.
We've just heard the latest release, The Last Day,
Don't start again. People can watch a video of that.
Event Big Finish, right? Yeah? No. Go and get a hold of 99 Code Red. That is Event Big Finish.
I wish that was available. Right? If you can track that down.
Imagine if The Last Day was as funny, as witty, as clever, as silly as that. It would have been an absolute treat.
Yeah.
It's just not.
You should have had Sylvester McCoy go in. You can give me a 69. Whatever. Maybe not.
Sophie Aldred. Oh no. Anything but that. No. Oh dear. Well, she did, didn't she? In some of those BBVs. Give some blowjobs and 69s.
Okay, Sophie Aldred did not give any 69 or blowjobs in BBV.
The character she's playing.
Or Ace did not.
I saw her with her arms around Colin Baker's tits.
It was not having a 69.
Or Colin Baker's tits around her. I can't remember what it was. Anyway.
You have not.
Yeah, people did a lot for paychecks in the 90s, you know. I don't mean Sophie Aldred, I mean the characters.
I know, but neither of them have done it.
And she ain't in these at all. Why are we even talking about her? How
anyway,
would you summarise Judge Dredd?
I think it's a absolutely fun world to be part of.
Yeah. I should be sad when we get to the
if
end.
you just want an hour of entertainment, Judge Dredd.
We've done 12. I think there's only 20, so I've only got 8
there's
left.
some crime chronicles afterwards as well that they do.
Is there?
I don't know if that's like the companion chronicles or not.
How many of those are there?
There's not very many.
Oh.
There's only a few of those, but...
I'm so sad.
I know. Maybe we should read a 2018.
Do you know what we could do? You ever see that documentary, that sketch where the fella from Little Britain and Mark Gatiss kidnapped Peter Davison and forced him to talk about Doctor Who's? We could do that to John Ainsworth and Toby Longworth, kidnap them upstairs, and then... Oh, I shouldn't really and force them to write and act more Judge Dredds for us.
Okay.
Dear.
Well...
If I got a libel case against me by the end of this one, I don't know what will.
Well, I will tell you what is happening next time on Finish Big.
We'd have to go away from Judge
We
Dredd.
are, but we are going back to the world of Bernice Summerfield.
Oh, yes!
Series 4?
Oh, Lisa.
Yes. We shall be listening to Bernice Summerfield and the Bellatron incident.
Ooh.
And the Draconian Rage.
Ah.
And the Poison Seas. And Death and the Daleks.
Oh, fuck me, Death and the Daleks is so good. It might be one of the best ever Bernice Summerfield audios, you know.
I'm looking forward to going back and listening.
You know how it starts? Previously on Bernice Summerfield.
Yeah.
And then she goes, well, actually... Everything happened previously on Bernice Summerfield.
I have to read some of the books in between, just to refresh.
Before Death and the Daleks is called... Oh, it's the Fifth Axis one. What's it called? Life During Wartime.
Okay.
Fuck me, it's amazingly
I might
good.
try and slip that in.
Okay. We're going away this weekend.
Yeah.
You can read it. Do you know, this is where they have decided to bring in a Doctor Who monster in every single story.
So let's see what happens to that, but let's not talk about that now. You always talk about the things that we're not supposed to be talking about. So in the meantime, check out Judge Dredd.
That's right.
Get ready for Bernice Summerfield. And we shall be finishing big.
I am the law.